Hello and welcome. This is a special edition of our program. My guest is a lawyer, Abdul Hussein Gamada. We're going to talk about federalism, the federal system, and the constitution of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. Stay tuned. Welcome. Let's begin from the constitution of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. Let's talk about its preamble and what can you say about the constitution?
Basically, constitution is the law, is the basic law, and it is the supreme law of a land, and it's an organic law. That means constitution is the foundation of a sovereign state. In the constitution, there are many fundamental principles enshrined in the constitution. There is a rule of law, there is a separation of power, and there is the structure of government, and there is division and distribution of power, especially when the state is a federal state. The division of power is made there in the constitution. Therefore, simply constitution is the basic fundamental law of a nation that constitute the nation itself. And constitution is the declaration of the aspiration of the people of the nation, and is a covenant, among the people of the nation. And the constitution is the instrument sometimes in which the rights, fundamental human rights and freedoms are enshrined. Constitution is the supreme law of the land. That means you assume power only through the procedures and the principles embodied in the constitution. You perform your work according to the procedures and principles in the constitution. So constitution is simply the fundamental law of a nation.
Ethiopia has got this fundamental law of the land, and actually the supreme law of the land. Like you stated, it is impossible to take power without the orders and procedures in the constitution. You said that. But recently, coup d'etat happened in Ethiopia, actually attempted from the Amharian state, and even some 5 officials were assassinated.
Yeah.
What can we say about this in that case?
And yes, the constitution, if you read Article 9, sub-article 3 of the constitution, it is provided to assume state power in any manner other than that provided under the constitution. That means the constitution provided you can assume power only through election permanently in the intervals enshrined in the constitution. Coup d'etat or a coup is just taking power through force. A certain military group, a certain officials organize themselves, make a network, and then attempt to take their governmental power. This is clearly put in the constitution is a crime against the constitutional order. The order, the procedures, the rules are there in the constitution. This tragedy happened in Amhara, and then the assassination made on the chief of staff in the federal level is clearly a crime against the constitution and the every government.
All right. There is a comment I hear in most cases, and that repeatedly people talk about. Ethiopia is a federal state with 9 regional states. It comprises 9 regional states. The chaos, people comment that the chaos and problems that we are observing today in Ethiopia are the result of the federal system Ethiopia follows. Do you agree with that?
Actually, no, because federalism is a multi-tied government system combining elements of shared rule and self-rule, especially in countries with diversities like ethnic diversity, religious diversity, cultural diversity, and language diversity. The best system they can accommodate these diversities is a federal system. Actually, as you have said, If two individuals quarrel on the street, today people are saying that this is due to this federalism. The question lies, this group with this ideology are the group against the multinational federalism of our country. These people are against the self-determination already recognized by the Constitution. These people are against the autonomy given to the nation and nationalities in the country. Of course, our Prime Minister, in the performance report to the House of People Representatives, says that federalism is not an absolute system, but it is an appropriate system to handle the diversities in our country. There are many people who said, according to the Prime Minister, as federalism is a mother of all problems in this country. Federalism actually is not the mother of all problems. What is lacking in our country is, I think, democracy. If there is no democracy, federalism is very difficult, actually. The other thing is, our country is not simply jumping from unitary government to federalism. There are reasons, there are problems historically in our country. There are national operations. There are language discriminations based on, especially language policies in our country, where one language, one country, and one religion. So, due to this national discrimination, there were national liberation movements in our country. Oromo Liberation Front, Tigray People's Liberation Front, the Ogaden liberation front. So many liberation fronts. These liberation fronts were started not from the scratch. It's due to the discrimination happening throughout the country. So our federal system is not a choice, but is a must. It's a must. Our Prime Minister actually said that we have passed through different regimes, the monarchical regime, the military dictatorship, now to federalism. Ethiopia should not be an experiment. We have to build up on this system rather than going to the new unitary system. Actually, federalism answered the questions of the nations, nationalities, and peoples of our country.
Would it be easy to be back to unitary, for instance? Like you said, federalism is a little bit, we see some solutions that it has brought. Those who think a unitary system is important for Ethiopia, do they succeed with the ideas from legal point of view? What can you say about that?
Actually, they can try it. It is the people who decide on it. Federalism, if federalism answered the questions of the nation, nationalities, and peoples, the people will vote for it. If people think that the federalism will not answer their questions, people will vote for it. But if you see the reality on the ground in our country today, many questions are raising in our country for a statehood to establish their own regional state. So I don't think they will succeed, but they have the right to try it.
With this, I want to ask you about the constitutional amendment. What can you say about constitutional amendment on those articles that many people complain that the Ethiopian constitution lacks amendment, this and that, blah, blah. What can you say about it?
Before that, let me add something on the right to establish our
own state.
It is provided under Article 47(2) of our Constitution. The nations, nationalities, and peoples within the states have the right to establish at any time their own state. The right holders are the nation, nationalities, and peoples of Ethiopia. What are the meaning of nations, nationalities, and peoples is provided under Article 39 sub 5 of the Constitution. The question is that our Prime Minister, while answering the question from the members raised by the members of the Parliament, those who are asking to establish their own state should first ask the amendment of Article 46, sub-article 2 of the Constitution. Article 46, sub-article of the Constitution states, regional states established based on settlement pattern, language, identity, and consent of the concerned people. These are the criteria enshrined under Article 46 of the Constitution. What is in the mind of the Prime Minister, I think, the need for amendment of Article 46 of the Constitution is the need for change these criteria. And I think the need to establish other regions, maybe cities who do not or does not fit to these criteria under 46 sub-article 2. Maybe the Prime Minister has in mind Finfinne or some other Redawa and some other regions, because they do not fit the settlement pattern, the language, the identity, maybe other criteria put under the Constitution. Amendment of the Constitution is possible. It is enshrined under Article 405 and
104 and 105.
104 and 105 of the Constitution. Amendment is possible, but amendment should be for the good.
What does that mean?
Amendment, in principle, for example, Constitution is foundational and enduring. That means that doesn't mean that the Constitution should not be amended. They must be able to respond to the changing reality. Then you must amend them when necessary and for the public good. But constitutions should not be amended to undermine the democratization process. It should not be motivated by selfish or partisan goals. Sometimes, in Africa, constitutional amendment are made for extend the tenure of power.
Governments on power.
Sure. So these are prohibitions and made in the principles of amendment of Constitution. Otherwise, one have the right to amend the Constitution, and it's all the same provided under our Constitution under Article 104 and 105.
You can drink your water at the same time. By the way, I'm going to ask you about rule of law. And last time while reporting to the House of People's Representatives, the Prime Minister stressed the need to ensure rule of law in the country. What does that mean when he addressed, we will ensure rule of law in the nation from corner to corner? What can you say about rule of law first?
Rule of law in principle is everything is under the law. Equal treatment before the law. You have to follow rules and procedures provided by the Constitution and other ordinary laws. Rule of law started from the supremacy of the Constitution, the supremacy of the law. The Prime Minister, when he's saying that we have got a firm stand on the rule of law, one, I think the base for the Prime Minister is a tragedy made in Amhara, a regional state. The other one is the movement in southern peoples,
the Sidama and Wolaita?
Sidama and Wolaita. So everything should follow the rules and the procedure enshrined in the Constitution and the ordinary laws. If not, the government lost its patience and going to take an action for the territorial integrity of the nation. The Prime Minister firmly committed to respect the unity of the country, the territorial integrity of the nation. Nobody should contravene the rules, the procedures there in the Constitution.
But in the meantime, he said, not only pen, we also use Kalashnikov to ensure this rule of law. Is it from legal point of view? Is that a good word that the Prime Minister said? Your only comment, actually.
You see, I think I can't say the good or a bad word, but the Prime Minister wants to emphasize that the territorial integrity of a nation must be given a priority. If an action, if any movement is against the territorial integrity of the nation, if against the unity of the nation, the government will take action extended to what the Prime Minister said.
Anything you may add? Concerning rule of law, concerning the Constitution, concerning how people understood the federal system in Ethiopia?
By the way, our country is a multinational nation. The federal system, I think, is the best system that can accommodate this diversity. The federal system balances the desire for unity and commonality in one hand, and the desire to diversity and autonomy on the other hand. So, being a nation of diversity in terms of ethnic composition, in terms of religion, and in terms of culture, federalism, I think, is the best solution for this country. What's lacking in our country is that democracy. If democratization is the process, actually, if there is a democracy, the federal system is the best for this country, and people who are against this federal system, I think the people who want to go back to the assimilation system on an instrument that were used by the people, think are Ethiopian nationalists. Ethiopian nationalists, they are only the people who protect the right, who have the right to protect this country, the people who established this country, and it's only these people with this ideology that they have to lead the country. So federalism is a solution for all these problems, I think.
All the narratives no more have power in Ethiopia than federalism. That's what I'm saying.
Sure.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Abdul Hussein Gamada, a lawyer, has told us a lot of things about what federalism is and how important it is for Ethiopia and Ethiopians. Thanks for watching. Have a good time. Bye-bye.